हाय एवरीवन। मैं हूं आपकी दोस्त इस चैनल की होस्ट ऑफ B.Ed Pro and here I am to guide you through your educational journey. So let's start. In the series of education and development, today we are going to discuss the link between economic development and education. So first of all, let me ask you a very simple question. Can a nation truly grow and develop without education? Think. Yes, the answer is definitely no. Education and economic development are like two sides of the same coin, and today we are going to explore how education drives the economic development and in turn how economic development shapes the education systems that we have. So let's begin. See, education in every sense is one of the fundamental factors of development. हमारी development के लिए, हमारे nation के development के लिए, हमारी खुद के development के लिए education is very important. And no country can actually achieve the sustainable economic development जिसके बारे में हम सोच के चलते हैं without investing in the human capital, in the people of its own country. Education, it enriches people's understanding of themselves and the world. खुद को भी लोग समझ पाते हैं जब they are well educated, and it also gives them a nazariya to see the world in a very different life. It also enhances the living style, the lifestyle of an individual. एजुकेशन एक फाउंडेशन देता है डेवलपमेंट के लिए एंड इट्स लाइक अ ग्राउंड वर्क ऑन विच much of our economic and social well-being is built. So let's see how education acts as a driver of economic growth. See, when people are educated, जब लोग पढ़े लिखे होते हैं, they gain valuable skills and knowledge, and this is just not going to help them personally. ये पूरी सोसाइटी को हेल्प करता है, प्रोडक्टिव बनाता है. एक एजुकेटेड वर्कफोर्स जो होती है, इट लीड्स टू मोर इनोवेशन, नई नई चीजें आती हैं, बेटर टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप होती है, इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथ को भी ये प्रमोट करता है, बढ़ावा देता है. We'll take a very simple example. After the Korean War, जब साउथ कोरिया जो country है, they heavily invested in education, and look where they are today, one of the world's largest economies, and they are producing world-class technology such as Samsung, LG, Hyundai, and what made this possible? A strong focus on education. So yes, education is very important for economic growth. See, when we have let's understand it through this flow chart. When we have better education, what happens? Ultimately, a person will have better skill, they will have better knowledge, better understanding and better application of that understanding. उन चीज़ों को बहुत अच्छे ढंग से वो अपनी डेली लाइफस्टाइल में या जहाँ ज़रूरत है वो उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाएंगे, अप्लाई कर पाएंगे. सो इन सब की वजह से हो क्या रहा है, जब बेटर एजुकेशन की वजह से ये चीज़ें नॉलेज अंडरस्टैंडिंग मिल रही है, अल्टीमेटली एक स्किल्ड वर्किंग कैपिटल, एक कुशल वर्किंग कैपिटल प्रोड्यूस हो रही है कंट्री के पास, जो ट्रेंड लोग हैं. अब जब ट्रेंड लोग काम करेंगे तो अल्टीमेटली जो प्रोडक्टिविटी है किसी भी इंडस्ट्री की, किसी फैक्ट्री की, किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की, वो बढ़ेगी कंपेयर टू द पीपल हु आर अनट्रेन्ड, हु आर अनस्किल्ड. जब इंडस्ट्री की प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ती है, दिस लीड्स टू द इंक्रीज इन इनकम कैपिटल. लोगों की तनख्वाह बढ़ती है, आमदनी बढ़ती है, उनकी इनकम बढ़ती है. और जब इनकम बढ़ती है, अल्टीमेटली लोगों की इनकम बढ़ेगी तो देश की जीडीपी बढ़ेगी. और जब लोगों की जीडीपी सॉरी देश की जीडीपी बढ़ेगी, तो लोगों के पास जब पैसा आ रहा है तो दे विल ऑल्सो फील लाइक स्पेंडिंग इट. ऐसा ही नहीं है तो स्पेंड कहाँ से करोगे? जब इनकम हो रही है अल्टीमेटली तभी तो आप स्पेंड करोगे ना. और जब आप पैसा खर्च करो तो पैसा कहाँ खर्च हो रहा है? मार्केट में. तो मार्केट की इकोनॉमी बढ़ी, मार्केट में पैसा लग रहा है, देश में पैसा आ रहा है. So ultimately the economy improves. So this is a flow chart which tells us how education is leading to the increase in economy or the improvement in economy. Better education, it ultimately gives better skill, knowledge, understanding and application, which implies that there would be a skilled working capital, and the skilled working capital will lead to the increase in productivity of the industry, which will ultimately lead to the income increase, and GDP will be increasing. Ultimately, the human index to spend the money will increase, and this all things will lead to the improvement or enhancement in economy. So this is a flowchart to explain you how education will be acting as a driver of economic growth. Now, according to a data obtained, लोगों ने study करी और एक data आया which showed us if there is a 10% increase in secondary education, अगर secondary education को हम 10% बढ़ा देते हैं किसी country में, this ultimately leads to 1.5% increase in economic growth. Economy 1.5% बढ़ जाती है. और अगर हम टर्शरी एजुकेशन में, हायर एजुकेशन में, कॉलेजेस, मास्टर डिग्री इसमें 10% इंक्रीज लाते हैं तो इकोनॉमी 0.9% बढ़ जाती है. Apart from this data, what we know is that the increase in the worker educational level ultimately improves the human capital. How? By increasing the productivity of workers. And all this thing directly improves the economy output. And this is what just I said is shown through this flowchart to make it very simpler and easier for you. At the end, what we are trying to say is educated workers, they are paid more, and economy productivity increases as the number of educated worker increases because skilled workers they can perform the task more efficiently और जो अच्छे से काम कर रहा है उसको पैसा तो मिलेगा ही. See, educated workers, as I said before, they are paid more. Education is the foundation of the modern world. Educated workers, they are not only helping themselves by earning more money, they are also helping their families in the neighborhood and the society to develop economically. How? क्योंकि खुद पैसा आ रहा है तभी तो फैमिली को पैसा दे पा रहे हैं. फैमिली बाहर जाके स्पेंड कर पा रही है, मार्केट में पैसा स्पेंड कर पा रही है, और जब मार्केट में पैसा स्पेंड हो रहा है तो अल्टीमेटली सोसाइटी में जहाँ पे लोगों के बिजनेसेस हैं उनको पैसा मिल रहा है. तो एक एजुकेटेड वर्कर खुद की भी हेल्प करता है बाय अर्निंग मोर एंड सोसाइटी की भी हेल्प करता है बाय स्पेंडिंग मोर. सो अल्टीमेटली द इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट टेक्स प्लेस. More well paid workers will spend more and boost the industry of the state more. This is exactly what I just told you. Now let's talk about the better training. See, in developed countries, there are more educated people, there is more economy, and they invest in training for human capital. Developed countries में ज़्यादा educated लोग होते हैं, वो ज़्यादा invest करते हैं अपनी economy में और training में human capital की. On the contrary, what we see in developing countries, लोग ज़्यादा educated नहीं हैं, वो ज़्यादा spend नहीं कर पाते हैं, and they do not invest much on the training of human capital because पैसा है ही नहीं तो spend कहाँ से करेंगे. So this is a difference that we have in developing countries, and we are supposed to note it. Education raises the productivity and creativity, and it also stimulates the entrepreneurship and the technology breakthroughs, and all these factors lead to a greater output and economic growth. Now, there are many people, many labor economic research करते हैं, तो they try to measure the relationship कि भाई अगर worker educated होता है, अगर वो skilled होता है, तो उनके बीच में and उनकी productivity के बीच में क्या relation है, and they call it as private return to education कि अच्छा अगर labor educated है तो किस तरह का return मिलता है, and that they have measured and quantified through their productivity, and the findings have been really positive. That means अगर worker educated है तो उनकी productivity भी अच्छी रहती है. And it's safe to say that education is just not about degrees, it's about creating a workforce that can actually contribute to the technological advancements, the entrepreneurship, and also overall economic productivity. Now, when we have discussed education, का क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ पे, लेट्स से इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट का क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है एजुकेशन के ऊपर. सो सी, as countries grow economically, they have more resources to invest in education. पैसे ज्यादा होते हैं कंट्री के पास तो वो अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम में इन्वेस्ट भी कर सकते हैं. when they have strong economy, गवर्नमेंट जो है वो better schools build करते हैं, they hire the very good trained teachers, and they also provide the schools and the teachers with the modern technology so that they can teach better and students can learn better. And all this creates a very positive cycle. Better education, it leads to more growth, it leads to अल्टीमेटली इवन बेटर एजुकेशन। एक साइकिल की तरह ये चलता जाता है, ज़्यादा पैसे हैं, आप ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट कर पाते हो एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, जिससे स्टूडेंट्स की ग्रोथ अच्छी होती है, ग्रो करके वो अच्छे वर्कफोर्स में जाते हैं, एंड अल्टीमेटली इकोनॉमी इंक्रीजेज, एंड अल्टीमेटली इकोनॉमी इंक्रीज होगी तो वो कंट्री अपने एजुकेशन रिसोर्सेज में बेटर तरीके से इन्वेस्ट कर पाएगी। फॉर एग्जाम्पल द स्कैंडिनेवियन कंट्रीज सच एज फिनलैंड और स्वीडन, they have invested a significant portion of their GDP in education, and as a result they have some of the best education systems in the world, which are providing free and high quality schooling for all children. So, as we have already discussed, the economic condition, the policies, the system, these all are just the important factors which constitute the educational environment in a country. Country की economic production capacity कई factors पे depend होती है, such as the physical capital, कितनी मैन पावर है, टेक्नोलॉजी कैसी है उस कंट्री में, देन the number of workers and the quality, are they trained, are they skilled, are they unskilled, and the training level, kitna they are trained. This is also very important. Differences जो होते हैं ट्रेनिंग लेवल में, वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा सिग्निफिकेंट रोल प्ले करते हैं डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज और डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में, एंड इट ऑल्सो शोज द मेजर डिफरेंस। इनकम जो होती है लोगों की और वो कितना खरीद सकते हैं, ये एजुकेशन की डिमांड को भी इन्फ्लुएंस करता है, क्योंकि अगर पैसा है एंड दे कैन स्पेंड, दे कैन परचेज, देन ओनली दे विल इन्वेस्ट इन द गुड क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, नहीं तो शायद वो अपने बच्चों को स्कूल में ना पढ़ाएं, या मे बी ऐसे जगह पे पढ़ाएं जहाँ फीस कम है एंड द एजुकेशन रिसोर्सेज आर नॉट वेरी गुड. So, as we were talking about the differences of developing countries in terms of the resources that they have, so basically what happens is, अगर हम डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में देखेंगे, दे हैव लेस रिसोर्सेज, एंड बिकॉज दे हैव लेस रिसोर्सेज they invest less money on the vocational training or the skill development programs and the education, and ultimately less skilled force workers are produced. On the contrary, in the developed countries, we see that they have more resources, they can invest, and they do invest more money on the vocational training, skill development programs and the education, and ultimately they produces a better skilled workforce, which ultimately improves the productivity and in turn economy of the country. Okay, now education through its curriculum, it produces trained skilled individuals who earn more in market and they are able to spend more. Ultimately, it leads to economic growth. This is just what we have discussed. And iske conclusion mein, it is safe to say that economic growth is proportional to the trained skilled individuals. Economic growth depend करती है trained skilled individuals पे. If there are more educated individuals, if there are more trained skilled individuals, there would be more economic growth. Similarly, if there are less trained skilled or trained or skilled or educated individuals, the economic growth would be less. Now, let's also talk about the inequality and education. In many less developed regions, what we see is, because there are lack of economic resources इतने नहीं होते हैं, that means that the education system will suffer. Schools in poor areas, they'll often lack the basic infrastructure, qualified teachers, and access to modern technology, जो कि developed nations में, more developed nations में हम देखते हैं कि there is a very good infrastructure, and the teachers are hired and qualified, and they have all the modern technology, लेकिन ऐसा less developed regions में नहीं होता है. तो ultimately education system suffer करता है, और education system कैसे economic growth को impact करता है वो हम देख ही चुके हैं. So this is all like a very vicious cycle. एक चीज दूसरे को influence करती है, and in turn वो पहली चीज को influence करती है. चिल्ड्रन को, बच्चों को अगर अच्छी एजुकेशन नहीं मिलेगी, they won't have access to the better paying jobs in the future, and if they will not have better paying jobs, they cannot get good jobs, sorry, they cannot earn more, and if they are not earning more, the economic situation will not improve. So this is a complete cycle. If the economic situation will not improve, they can't invest in a good education system for their upcoming generation, and so on. So this is like a very vicious cycle. So this is what all entails in this particular topic, and that's all. Thanks a lot. Hope you like the video, And if you have any questions, you can always comment in the comment box. Thank you.